I'd love to. This is very much the foundation of my campaign, which has been that our economy has been pushing more and more Americans to the side over the last number of years and decades. I grew up in similar circumstances to many of you. My parents immigrated here from Taiwan, and my dad worked for GE and then IBM. And I talk about that because I saw those towns that GE and IBM used to manufacture things in, like Schenectady, New York, transform from being manufacturing hubs to former manufacturing hubs, which meant they became quite depressed. And also my dad had something called a pension. You know, he worked at IBM, and then they said, hey, if you stick around long enough, we'll like fund your retirement in various ways. And then they transformed pensions into amped up 401ks for employees because they wanted to get out of the retirement game. So there's been like a transformation of our economy for everywhere from the high end to the low end, where fewer and fewer Americans are sharing in the economic benefits of the last literally like 30 to 40 years. And on top of that, you've had this frankly dysfunctional federal government that has not really been trying to address the corporate consolidation and the inequities in the economy that have reached legitimately historic or unprecedented levels. Like our government has essentially been just letting it happen over the last number of decades because we've been all indoctrinated in this market-based mentality, which is that government is dumb, markets are smart, markets will allocate capital effectively. The government getting in the way of that is doing us all a disservice. And so if you're failing, it's your fault, and you need to work harder or get smarter or take different classes or whatnot. And then layered on top of that has been a very, very dysfunctional media where I'm old enough to remember when we only had 3 TV networks and then Fox came along. And this isn't like Fox News like today. This is like, you know, normal Fox where it was just a TV network and had a few shows on it. And when you had just a few TV networks, there was like a sense that journalism equaled the facts equals truth. You had a number of journalists that everyone trusted. Unfortunately, now with cable news, they have economic incentives to become as sensationalistic and have their news skew in a particular direction. They found it's better business. So I work for CNN sometimes, as you know now, so many of you know. CNN's ratings are dwarfed by MSNBC and then Fox. Fox gets something like 2 million viewers, and then MSNBC might be like 1.3, and then CNN is like down at 1. And CNN is relatively objective, or at least it tries to be. I mean, people can disagree. But it turns out it's better business to cater to a particular group of Americans' predispositions and preconceptions than it is to try and report objective news. Just gets higher ratings, more ad dollars. So you have that media landscape, and then compounded by social media, which also rewards the more sensationalistic and clickbaity type headlines. So our economic incentives are driving us towards polarization. So you have an economy that's winner take all, a dysfunctional government, and then media that actually benefits economically when it pits us against each other.